Did she say Facebook? What is Facebook? I would like to first of all say good afternoon to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to extend a special thanks to the class of '87 for selecting me to serve as the 25th year speaker. I'm profoundly humbled, and I'll share why. My parents were born in the Deep South, Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Bovina, Mississippi. They were sharecroppers. They picked cotton. And they did not own their own land. They lived on the land of others. They attended neither college nor high school because laws prohibited them from achieving a formal education beyond elementary school. You have selected the son of a sharecropper as your class rep. And I wonder, as my mother and father were picking cotton, did they ever ponder that a generation later their son would be attending a school called DePauw in a city called Greencastle? My mother passed when I was 5. My father is living, and I can't help but wonder, what is my father thinking right now? I'm honored beyond words for the privilege. And just what did we attend DePauw to achieve? What have we been up to for the last 25 years? What motivated us to select DePauw 29 years ago? Well, let me back up. Do we even remember 29 years ago? Do you remember 1983 when many of us, bearing many different personalities and far-ranging aspirations, came to a common destination to achieve an uncommon college education experience? Do you remember 29 years ago when we arrived on the DePauw campus? In November 1982, Michael Jackson released the record titled Thriller, and the class of 1987 came full throttle into the DePauw campus and brought with us the melodies of Thriller, Billie Jean, and Beat It. In 1983, Microsoft was launched. Motorola launched the first mobile phone. Are you going on a trip? Oh no, that isn't my suitcase, that's my cell phone. On a more sad note, in 1983, a staggering 4 million Ethiopians perished due to drought. During our freshman year, we were welcomed to the DePauw-Wabash rivalry in grand fashion as the Motown Bell went down to the last play on a bitterly cold night. DePauw was leading, but Wabash was kicking at the door. Wabash had the ball on the DePauw 1-yard line with time left for only one play. I remember hundreds of other DePauw fans jumping out of the bleachers in a frenzy and running down to the end zone to watch the final play unfold. I was kneeling down right on the goal line. Wabash snapped the ball and tried to roll out to the right and throw a pass in the corner of the end zone, only to have Steve Batman Battriell deflect the pass at the last moment to preserve the DePauw victory. Class of '87, welcome to DePauw. In fact, after this rousing introduction, we were led to believe every Motown Bell game would be so thrilling and captivating. Not. There were, of course, other experiences and moments that helped frame our 4-year DePauw journey. The men's basketball team and their successful runs towards a Division III championship, the pulling of all-nighters during finals, the stirring and inspiring lectures of some of our truly preeminent professors, Professor John Wilson in European Civilization, and Professor Michael Johnson in Animal Behavior stand out for me. Didn't they make you just want to study more? Okay, maybe not. As a member of the DePauw Concert Choir, I enjoyed the annual Christmas program sponsored by the DePauw School of Music. I have long appreciated the sentiment of one of our noted philosophers who stated, "A beautiful song is as two prayers." The all-campus picnic at DePauw was a winner. This seemed to be one of the few occasions where the DePauw student body seemed to be truly united. Also, being roommates with arguably the most popular person and personality on campus, Mr. Scott Lewis. He was captain of the basketball team and he was voted Mr. DePauw. He even had his face plastered on the cover of the DePauw magazine. And no, I wasn't jealous. Who said that anyway? How about making a classic IGA run with no money? Does anyone recall 5962? $59.62 to be exact. I certainly do. That was my work study check that I received every 2 weeks. I was paid $59.62 to engage in the regularly criticized but often underappreciated grave duty of furniture guarding at the UB. It was the perfect work-study experience. While at work, I studied. I also remember Brad Wrench from Ohio and having a fun, spirited, eye-opening conversation while standing in his Mason room or Mason Hall dorm room. Talk about cultural diversity. Brad Wrench absolutely could not fathom that I could not name just one person or one song from the Rolling Stones. And I was equally flabbergasted to learn that Brad had never heard of Luther Vandross. In 1987, the year we prepared to leave DePauw, we witnessed the following social environment and national climate. The debut of Prozac. Gas prices were 89 cents a gallon and eggs were 65 cents a dozen. The average income was $24,000 a year. For me, some things just have not changed. There was the release of the blockbuster Fatal Attraction. The Simpsons hit TV for the first time, and of course on October the 19th we had the stock market crash where the market dropped 22.6% or 508 points in one day. I was also one of the students who led protests against DePauw seeking the institution's divestiture from South Africa and apartheid. It was also in 1987 that my roommate Scotty, the music aficionado himself, walked into our room carrying a new album. Yes, it was actually a record album. He asked me to listen to the song of a young upstart talent who, in his words, had been discovered by Jermaine Jackson. So that day in Longden Hall, Scotty introduced me to the serene, melodious, angelic voice of Whitney Houston. It was 1987 when Whitney Houston launched her hit single, "I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me." As I carefully recall the many experiences I've had at DePauw, and no, not all of them were pleasant, one of them made an indelible impression on my thought and consciousness. One evening, DePauw students were invited to the Julian Center Auditorium to learn about a winter term service project Mr. Fred Lamar and some DePauw students had completed in Guatemala. That evening, as I viewed the slides and listened to Mr. Lamar's beautiful, impassioned, and moving thoughts about serving and helping others, I lost any cool I thought I possessed. In fact, as Mr. Lamar spoke, my only solace was that I sat in the back and the lights were out, meaning no one could see me weeping. My reaction seemed to further crystallize my life's direction, a life serving others. Class of '87, we were blessed with a DePauw education, and we have been endowed with many blessings that often accompany a great education, and we are the richer for it. We are enriched in ways that the vast majority of humanity could not imagine. Consider, for example, that if you make $25,000 per year, then you earn more than roughly 90% of the world's population of 7 billion people. We are not better. We have been blessed with the gift of an education and opportunity. As the late Kingman Brewster, former president of Yale University, stated, An education allows you to see things which the uneducated simply cannot see. One of the pressing questions then for us is, are we sharing our education and its benefits with others? A good education equips us to make positive change, and not just change in our own lives, but change in the lives of others. If you think about it, aren't we really at our level best when we have purpose in our souls to leverage all we have learned and all we have attained so that others can also be enriched by our gains? In the final analysis, we are blessed to give and serve. Serve our families, serve our communities, serve the poor, serve the uneducated. Serve those who are crying out for our help. A life consumed with what's in it for me will only cause me to collapse under the unbearable weight of narcissism and self-absorption. Can you say empty? One of the greatest manifestations of gratitude for blessings received is the bestowing of blessings on others. Because of the reality of my mother and father's history, I am forever grateful for my own education, and one of the ways I say thank you very much is by giving back to DePauw. In fact, if someone were to research the checks I have written to our alma mater, they would typically find the following words in the memo line: thank you for the education. Class of '87, the year we graduated from DePauw, we went our separate ways to become successful, to continue advancing our educations, to start families, to make a difference. Where has your journey taken you? My journey took me back to Indianapolis, where I began volunteering so that I could give back. I wanted to help youth. Now here's a simple truism. Every adult has at one time been a child, while no child has ever been an adult. We are wired to help them. I wanted to help youth grow in understanding the value and sanctity of their own lives. And I wanted to help foster in them a deep, abiding consciousness of the power and efficacy of an education. Fresh out of DePauw, I wanted to share and spread what I had learned. In fact, I purposed to give youth an education on an education. By striving to give youth insight on the education's transformational value and on its immeasurable capacity to leverage opportunity and ultimately help build a life of meaning, consequence, and immense fulfillment, my hope was to help youth first develop a value system around learning and then teach them to pass it on. When I left DePauw and decided to help my community by helping youth aspire to the highest levels of their capacity, I could have never imagined that the innocent, earnest desire to serve others would continue 25 years later and eventually become my life work. As time would have it then, the year of our 25th year class reunion happens to coincide with the silver anniversary of my involvement with the Center for Leadership Development. And since these two silver anniversary celebrations coincide, I would be remiss if I did not conclude my remarks by sharing just one humble thought on what I believe is the quintessential element of exceptional leadership. The most glaring hallmark of this special leadership principle is that the space, environment, or locus occupied by the leader is made better, richer, healthier because the leader has been there. When excellent leaders show up, environments improve. When the leader is present, the outlook becomes brighter. When the leader is present, answers and solutions also appear. Moreover, when the leader appears, the environment in which she presents is the beneficiary of the rich endowment she possesses. All this is encapsulated in the leader's presence and abilities. All this is encapsulated in the leader's presence and abilities redounds to the benefit of others, those present and others absent, those in the now and still others in the future. What is this exceptional leadership sine qua non? Class of '87, there is without doubt a quintessential endowment of leadership which enables us to give, act, and serve with highest distinction. I therefore challenge you to lead Kresge in the silver anniversary celebration with a collective commitment to put some power in your presence. The tremendous opportunity before us today is that as a class, we can resolve to use our DePauw education to positively impact and empower the lives of others. When you decide to show up, the lives of others will be made better, richer. Your presence can be transformative. When we exercise the power of presence, others will experience a seismic reverberation of our DePauw education. 25 years ago, Mr. Fred Lamar and DePauw students put the power in their presence by showing up in Guatemala, and the lives of others were profoundly enriched. In the 1870s, DePauw University was Asbury College. That is, before a man by the name of Washington C. DePauw used the power of presence by showing up at Asbury College with a $600,000 gift. So strong was the power and the transformational influence of his presence that Indiana Asbury became DePauw University. Class of '87, we too have gifts to share. Our wealth, our wisdom, our work, our mind, our muscles, our money, our energy, our education, our endowments. We are called to share those special gifts with others. What place, location, or group is anxiously and wistfully awaiting your presence? What neighborhood, child, or community is waiting for you to show up and unleash your power? Where will you show up? Will you show up? When? When we show up with a willingness and capacity to share and help improve the lives and lot of others, when we commit our lives to putting some power in our presence so that the lives of others will be strengthened and infused with hope, we demonstrate and share the greatest, most transformative leadership endowment available to humankind, the leadership of love. Class of '87, let's put some power in our presence. And growing up, there was a spiritual that we sang, and I will close with the words of that spiritual that fuels us to put power in our presence. If I could help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian ought, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrought, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will not be in vain. Class of '87, Godspeed. Thank you.